Hey guys, this is Lala Legacy, and welcome back to another episode of SeaBed. So, let's just jump right back in. I got back to my bed and turned to my side in the fetal position. Making sure not to accidentally open any gaps on my back, I closed my eyes. The temperature suddenly dropped the next morning, just like Mayuko and Sanai had warned. Oh, and Sanai also caught a cold. Holding the folded towel by its two ends, I gave it a hard wring. The water it had absorbed dripped down into the basin below. I placed the cool, wet towel on the forehead of the feverish Sanai. Guess we're at the turning point of seasons. It was really cold yesterday, too. Sanai blinked a few times instead of a reply. You're still feeling out of it? Guess it's gonna be rice gruel or something along those lines for lunch then. I'll have Mayuko bring it to you. Aren't you bored? Yeah, it's a shame we can't talk much, but it still beats being cooped up in my room. I made a long yawn. When I opened my eyes, I saw Sanai staring right at me. I couldn't sleep that well yesterday. You should sleep. Oh, wait, no, whoops. I couldn't sleep that well yesterday. You should sleep. I'm going to be fine, said Sanai in a small voice. I'm good. Sanai regarded me for a few moments, then finally closed her eyes. Do you want me to read you something? Rather, I'd like to hear the continuation of your story. Which one? The story about your trip. The one you didn't finish last time. Ah. I mean, this is good exercise for Takako's mind, though. Like, recalling memories like this. After filling our stomachs in the port, we rented ourselves a car. During our test ride along the seashore, we spotted a flock of seagulls flying above the sea. The wind is pretty strong here. I like towns with strong wind. It lifts my spirits. Once the traffic light dangling above the road changed to green, we made our turn and returned to town. The well-kept steering wheel felt right at home in my grip, while the neatly polished front window gave me a clear and beautiful view of the scenery. As we rode up a hill, all we could see was the horizontal line of the asphalt and the clear blue sky stretching above it. I spotted a few woolly clouds drifting across it. Eventually, we reached the top. Our red rental car returned to a horizontal position, but it lasted only a few moments, and we were soon on our way downhill. This time, I could see the Azure Sea and a port in the distance, surrounded by colorful houses and woodlands. Wow! The uneven terrain made the city even more scenic, letting you observe it from a variety of angles. As I looked down at the slope, I spotted some pink and white flowers growing by the side. Oh my god, I remember when I was little and we went to San Francisco, my family and I, that we actually went down this road. And it was so funny because my dad was the one who was driving, and my brother and I, we were pretty young. Like, I think I must have been like 5 and he was 7 or something like that, or 6 and 8, somewhere in between those times. But yeah, it was really funny because my dad was having a hard time maneuvering down this hill. And my brother and I, we were looking out the window, just like screaming about the flowers and how pretty it was. And my mom was also kind of like, oh, that's nice. And my dad in the front seat is just like, shut up, I can't drive. Oh, man. Oh, good times. I miss family vacations. Anyways. The stone-paved road extending before our car cut through what seemed like a garden of sorts. The thick greenery higher up prevented me from seeing the end of the road. Okay. Releasing the brakes and promptly shifting to acceleration, I began to make my way down. Through the window on the passenger side, Sachiko gazed out at the colorful flowers as they danced, her own hair wildly fluttering in the wind. Oh, the Golden Gate Bridge! When we went, when my family and I went, when I say we, I mean my family and I when I was little, we actually went across the Golden Gate Bridge as well. And when we did that, it was completely foggy. Like, it seriously looked like we were about to head into Silent Hill. And it was so creepy. And there was, like, so many cars, and we had to drive really, really slow because of all the fog. And, the bridge was just packed. Like, completely packed. We were literally bumper to bumper with each other. And that was horrifying. Anyways, there was a huge and gorgeous Art Deco style bridge connecting the port and the neighboring town further down the road. The two towers supporting the bridge were so huge, it felt almost like they were touching the sky. I leaned forward to have a better look, but the rearview mirror sparkled in the sun, momentarily blinding me in one eye. The setting sun painted the western sky orange, while making the ocean waves appear like brilliant, sparkling gold. The waves reached all the way to the bridge, lending a golden hue to its lower part as well. The tower appeared to almost be melting in the sky as that golden glow embraced their edges, and the sun began sinking deeper below the horizon, painting the entire scenery orange. I'm really glad it didn't rain today. Yeah. Our drive across the suspension bridge started with observing how the matter red structure was slowly taking on darker hues. Whatever. I began singing a song, humming the parts where I'd forgotten the words. It made Sachiko smile and comment on how old it was. Whew! After spinning the wheel so much, it's nice to finally have a relaxing straight road to drive on. I straightened my arms and my back. Do you want me to drive on the way back? No need, I'm good. I changed gears and stepped on the gas a bit harder. A classical rock song began blaring from the radio when I pressed a button on it, the kind you'd hear all the time these days. I lowered the sound a little. Oh, here comes the fog! I wonder if that's mist. Sachiko, who was looking at the gulf from the window, pointed at the cars ahead of us. Their lights were about to disappear into some haze. Yes, this is what it kind of looked like, except my experience, it was like the whole frickin' thing. Like, the screen that you're seeing in the back, guys, imagine if that was completely foggy and you couldn't even see that big tower in front of you. That was how foggy it was when I actually went. It looked like the wind swept some mist our way from the gulf. It swiftly covered the water below the bridge and was now rising up to where we were. It had already covered most of the road. Are you going to be okay? I can see the cable, so it shouldn't be a problem. The white dense mist hid the road in front of us like a cloud. All we had was the orange-red cable to guide our way. We drove across the vanilla-colored cloud with our eyes fixed on the cable extending from one of the towers. If I woke up in a place like this, I'd think I was dreaming for sure. Yeah. Our car drove over the clouds. The sun dipped behind a golden-tinted cloud in the westward sky. You think we're going to be okay? What do you mean? At this rate, the road might very well lead us straight to Wonderland or heaven. Sachiko gave the scenery in front of us a look before glancing back at me with a gentle smile. I wouldn't mind that. As the wind picked up, our car was swallowed by the surrounding mist. I pulled the switch next to the wheel and made our headlights blink. The mist reflected their golden glow. For a while, I observed the spreading clouds and the high towers peeking out from behind them, until I heard the abrupt sound of a horn. Oh! Oh man, foghorns too. It's bringing back all those memories from San Francisco. Even after I floored the gas pedal, the sound continued to echo across the mist. Sachiko looked out the window and listened in. I think it's the horn of a ship. It's coming from below. Oh, okay, that was not a foghorn, but yeah, I remember foghorns though. Really made you feel like you were going into Silent Hill. I wonder if it's signaling its place so it doesn't collide with anyone else. I decelerated to our previous speed and made our tail lamps blink as well. Sachiko lowered the volume of the radio. Now I could definitely tell the sound was coming from below. There are all sorts of sounds in this world, huh? I returned my gaze to the towers peeking out from behind the veil of mist. After a few more honks, the mist cleared up and we continued onwards. I could see the same blue sedan in front of us. Before we realized it, the sun had already set. Oh man. That whole scene just reminded me of my trip to San Francisco when I was a kid. Ugh, so many memories. They're very good ones too. Like, don't think that they weren't, because they were awesome. Well, most of them. But yes, it was such a frickin' cool trip. The moment I left the room, the chilly air outside made me shiver. Groaning, I wrapped my arms around myself. I suddenly realized it was exactly what my grandmother used to do. The black window frames rattled, making the corridor feel even colder. On the other side of them loomed a sky lightly covered by clouds. The camphor tree in the yard continued to sway in the wind, shedding some of its leaves in the process. I followed the leaves with my eyes while turning toward the east wing. I could hear the sound of a knife hitting a chopping board. Mayuko was busy preparing lunch behind my back. Not minding her, I kept my eyes on the small pot in front of me. Chopped vegetables and rice were being steamed together. The shredded radish and carrots, the sliced shiitake mushrooms, the chopped onions, and the rice gruel were all gently wobbling in there. I think it's starting to boil over again. It should be about done by now. I scooped up a small portion and put it in my mouth. It's hot, but good. Can I have a taste too? I think the taste is a bit strong though. Mayuko came over and opened the lid, her expression instantly clouding over. Did you put curry in this? Just a little. The taste is too strong, said Mayuko after putting some of it in her mouth. You think so? It's not good for someone who just got over a fever. Takako, what are you doing? The room we were using for the cafeteria had a long blackwood table with several chairs around it. How they managed to bring that table into the room was a mystery to me, though. Sitting in one of the chairs was a certain someone with fluffy hair. I circled around the table, set down my tray, and sat in front of her. Long time no see. How are you doing? That's a dumb question. Why? I'm here because I'm not doing well. Well, that's true in most cases, but there are exceptions to everything, right? Kozue furrowed her brows as I removed the lid from the pot. Want to have a taste? I asked, but Kozue shook her head. I haven't seen you in a while. Where have you been? Nowhere special. I wonder if we just missed each other then. Perhaps I was avoiding you. I felt something pierce my heart just now. Doesn't seem like it was much of a fatal injury for you, though. That's because I'm headstrong. Kozue placed a cup with water on the table. Are you in a bad mood? Maybe I can help if there's something on your mind. I'm okay. On the tray before her rested a bowl of rice, a plate with sweet and sour pork, and some broiled fish, and a single strawberry. There was also a bowl of carrot and some bean goma eye salad next to the tray. Kozue picked up an okra with her chopsticks and put it in her mouth. Was that okra tasty? It was okay. I don't like sticky stuff, which is why I'm not a fan of the mountain potatoes here. I think I saw you eating natto earlier. I love natto! You're like a little child. Hey! Natto's good for you, but natto's so gross! Is there nothing you don't like, Kozue? No. I see. I scooped up a spoonful of rice gruel. It had already cooled off to the perfect temperature. The taste of curry was a bit strong, though. Kozue ate her food with almost machine-like precision. The wind rattled the window. I looked behind me and gazed outside through the large window. The cloudy sky made the interior of the room darker than usual. Just like today, in real life. The lights inside suddenly blinked. I looked up at the ceiling. They're acting funny again, and we changed them just the other day. I wonder if it's the age of the building that's the problem. Maybe there's something off with the wiring. The ones in the lobby stairway were acting up too. Mayuko said she might have to change them again. Ah, that's right! I took out a piece of cardboard from my pocket and handed it to Kozue. What is this? An invitation from Mayuko? That's your handwriting, though. The card had a fantastic illustration of stars and clouds drawn on it. The date and time were written below that. She asked me to write it. Is that for Christmas? Yes, it's been a while, so we're all getting together and having dinner together. Make sure not to be late. What if I don't go? The food will go to waste. And what's this about a dress code? It's a party! If you don't have a dress, I can lend you mine. Kozue finished her final piece of fish with what little rice she still had left, then gulped down her remaining miso soup. Well, I'm full. You're going already? I addressed her as she picked up her tray. She cocked her head to the side, seemingly nodding. It's been cold lately, so be careful. I addressed her back while scooping out another spoonful of curry gruel. Huh, so Kozue was in there too, like as a patient. Interesting, and she doesn't look, well, like, it's like she hasn't aged at all. So maybe it's only been like a year or so, but that can't be true. What? I'm so confused. Then again, I guess some people don't really change in like a couple of years either. I know I haven't changed much in like the past 10 years. I could hear a faint sound coming from Sanai's room. Oh, well, I mean, in the past 10 years, obviously, it's like, in a couple of years, a kid like Kozue will get taller at least, you would think. I don't know. Listening to a set of familiar words, I opened her door. Oh, hi! She's Sameepin. Sanai was laying on her bed, holding a book. Her face was turned toward the window. The window was slightly open, its curtains languidly fluttering in the faint wind. The music of my childhood reverberated across the walls. Sanai didn't react to my entry. As I drew closer, I realized that her eyes were closed and her breathing was even. I closed the window, careful not to make a sound. I moved closer to the shelf with the record player and checked the label of the record set down next to it. The cover wasn't one I was familiar with, but it was most certainly the song I hummed during that trip I told Sanai about. I spent a couple of moments listening to the melody. As the song began nearing its end, I looked down at the shelf below in search of the notebook I'd forgotten in her room. Sanai's shelves seemed to have changed slightly from the last time I saw them. She must have returned a lot of her books to the library, as most of the available space was now taken up by the records, with only a few lonely books left at the edges of the shelf. The leftover books seemed ancient. Their covers were pretty much falling apart. They must have been her old favorites or something. Some were meticulously patched up with tape and adhesive. But that is all the time that I have for this episode, guys. So if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below, and if you haven't already, subscribe. By subscribing, you're becoming part of a legacy. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!